currency.
Like a couple Bitcoins.
Money,
Hold up on my Nakamoto.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Blockchain Dynamics show. We're here at Error by Trial Studios. This is episode number 12.
Yes, sir.
My name is Brandon Doge,
And I am Jukely.
and we're happy to be here as always. We've got a lot to talk about. Been another fun week in crypto.
Yep. And the first thing we wanted to mention was got that RSS feed figured out, which allowed us to submit the podcast to iTunes and Google Play. So
Sweet.
if that's a way that some people might prefer to listen to it, they have that option now.
Yeah, good for mobile, I guess, or whatever. But so yeah, we're kind of just trying to get to as many platforms as possible.
It was just kind of fun. It was fun to search for it and see it come up. And the second thing we were going to get to is we are going to be announcing the Mineum Twitter contest winners for the next couple weeks. And what this is a Bitcoin award contest. Basically, they're giving away some Bitcoins for people tweeting about their coin and drawing attention to them.
So the prize is in Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we have the winners for this week.
The winners are, okay, the categories. Category number 1, the catchiest, most unique, and well-worded tweet. And the winner there is Wahid Nukti. That's at WAKHIDNKCOM. And here is the catchiest, most unique tweet from Wahid. It's, "That's it, more and more coming. All right, Captain, next station is Moon." So there you have it. Apparently that's the best one. So
Moon incoming.
Moon is coming. So he's the winner of that category.
So basically what it shakes down to is 0.0275 Bitcoins per category per winner.
Sweet. That's a good prize.
So he won that one.
Congratulations to Wahid Mukti.
And he also won category number 2, which was the Twitter
Oh, cool.
account that tweets the most Mineum-related content.
So congratulations again to you.
So that's a total of 0.055 for him.
Nice. Good haul.
Yeah. And then the third category was the Twitter account to post the best Mineum-related graphics.
That one goes to Condiomir. He's somebody who's been around for a long time. He always does cool graphics, and this one is no exception. You can check it out on his Twitter. And the last account, or the last category, is the Twitter account that retweets the most Mineum-related content. That goes to Eni. I don't know how you say it.
No, me neither.
But his account is at ENEBTC.
Yep.
So congratulations to you, Ina.
Yeah, congratulations to everyone, and anyone that feels like they might want to participate in that for next week can check out some information about it on the Mineum website.
Yep, sounds like a pretty good prize, so yeah, a lot of fun.
And so I guess the people behind Mineum will collect the Bitcoin addresses soon, and then we'll send out the Bitcoin.
Yep.
Up next, we're excited to have a guest on the show this week. It is Hex from Cryptopia.
Hello.
Hello, Hex.
Hello.
Thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome. I mean, yeah, it's good to be here.
Cool.
Hex, for those who don't know, is the proprietor of the Cryptopia exchange.
One of the proprietors, co-founder.
Among the proprietors is Hex. It's www.cryptopia.co.nz.
Yeah.
And it's a really fun exchange. We've been talking about Cryptopia for a while. Do you have anything you want to say about the exchange?
So there's more to it than an exchange. It seems
Right.
like, I don't know how it started, though. I mean, maybe if you either want to just give us a little bit of background about Cryptopia or something like that, Hex?
How far back do you want me to go?
I guess I'd love to hear what the beginning is, if it's not too inconvenient.
Well, I kind of sort of consider myself as, I guess, old school when it comes to crypto, just in the sort of sense that I don't want to sound like a hipster, but I was sort of into crypto before Bitcoin, if
Sure.
that makes sense.
Okay.
Sure.
I guess it started like I was into distributed computing and crypto
Nice.
sort of around high school, there was this project called Distributed.net. I think it's still going. You can go look at it. And what they started out doing was, before it was quite crypto related, they had this distributed computing platform where they used to look up what are called Golomb rulers, which is if you have a set amount of distance, say like a ruler, how many notches can you put on that ruler where no two distances between two markings are the same? And so, you might have one at the 1 mark and then one at the 3 mark and one at the 7 mark. And so the distance between all the 3 markings is different, and they try and find how many markings they could fit in. And then RSA Labs started doing challenges, key pair challenges on the RC5 algorithms that they were bringing out at the time. And so it started out with like a $500 prize, and people were just brute forcing this passphrase that RSA had encrypted.
Nice.
And then they started bringing out more algorithms, and the prizes started getting bigger. I think it got up to about $10,000, which is, it was a lot at the time, but now compared to like Bitcoin's block reward, it's nothing. But it sort of really paved the way for that whole crypto as a currency rather than just as a sort of proof of work platform where one person got the reward for finding the specific task.
Right. Nice.
And then Bitcoin sort of came out, and so it was sort of a natural progression from there. And I sort of was just playing around with that by myself for ages. I was like mining for a while. I had a GPU rig, before ASICs were a thing.
Oh, cool.
And then I realized one of my friends that I worked with was getting into Bitcoin. So we sort of, got together and had some mining pools. We were called Triple Hex Industries. And we just used to, prospect mine. We had pools for like Batcoin and, what was it, Mono, and just random coins that probably, aren't really big anymore. But at the time,
Sure.
it was all
Sure.
prospecting. And then, I don't know, Saddam, the guy that, runs Cryptopia with me, he had an experience with one of the exchanges. It's an exchange that's not sort of really around anymore, Cryptsy, where he lost a Bitcoin and a half, 2 Bitcoin, something like that. And they were basically saying it was his fault, or they were saying it was Cryptsy's fault, and everyone was sort of pointing the fingers, and it sort of never got resolved. So we sort of went away and took a break from mining pools, and we were like, well, we're kind of not really happy with any of the other sort of exchanges or offerings out there. So we just decided to, give it a go ourselves. And we at the time, it was just like, we're just going to have an exchange just for our miners to sort of, trade on, because that's all we really were at the time, was a mining pool.
Sure, that makes sense.
Which is where the mineshaft comes from. And everyone sort of goes, but you're an exchange. But we've always sort of just considered ourselves a pool site,
Right.
So we came out with the mineshaft, and then we were just like, well, this is kind of fun. We're kind of good at this, we think. So we kept, we just kept seeing what else we could add. We ended up, adding the forums. We added the arbitrage page. We added, the reward bot and stuff like that. And we just sort of keep going from there.
Cool.
Excellent. Very cool.
So when did Cryptopia start then, as a website?
The website went live December 2014.
Okay.
So
Nice.
that was when we first, left alpha. We sort of had about a week of beta, and then towards the end of December, we went officially live.
Nice. That's interesting. As a trader, it's always curious to think of what goes on behind the scenes of an exchange, because they, it obviously varies, and it seems like it's probably a lot of work at some points without a lot of payback. So, it's an interesting thing. Do you think of it? Cryptopia seems like it's in a good position to grow at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an operator of an exchange, and I also wonder sort of what goes on behind the scenes at other exchanges. Like, I can guarantee you, the way that we do things is not the way that everyone else does things. Like, as far as we can tell, a lot of the exchanges out there are all sort of using the same open source trade engine, which seems to be why they're all getting sort of hit by the same sort of attacks.
Oh, interesting.
Which is race conditions in this open source trade platform. Whereas we sort of just wrote everything from scratch. So if something goes wrong, it's like, well, we wrote that so we can fix that, and we can get it sort of sorted out pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's nice.
Our biggest limitation is that Saddam, who leads up development, already has a full-time job working as a developer. So everything that he's done for Cryptopia, he's done in his spare time. So I don't know. We sort of look at what we've done. We look at other sites. It's like these guys have so much money and they're just not doing anything with it. Like if we had that kind of budget, we could. You wouldn't even recognize our website. Like
Right.
in 6 months of just full time dev. Whereas at the moment, it's been about almost 2 years of just part time dev.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, like we said, we've enjoyed. We were kind of aware of Cryptopia for a while, but only recently I had some coins on there that I've started kind of playing around with more, and I posted on the forum with the show and stuff. So, we liked how you added the ETH base pairs. That's pretty cool, I think. And another exchange followed suit pretty quickly after you.
Yep.
Did that?
Yeah, C-Cex did it this week.
Which one is C-Cex? I'll be honest, I don't really use any of the other exchanges, so I don't really know what's going on over there. We don't sort of trade ourselves at all, really.
I suppose aside from their name, all we know is just our experiences trading on there, and it had more volume in the past. It had some reputation problems at times, but it still lists coins and has some volume.
They've
sure.
withstood the test of time for sure. They've been around for a while. They're I think it's Russian operated. But they've been around for a long time.
Yeah, with the ETH pair, we I don't know, people on our site were asking us for ages to list ETH, and for the longest time we sort of resisted it. Like neither of us were particularly fans of it, just because of the whole pre-mine ICO situation going on.
Right.
We're not huge fans of ICOs and pre-mines and stuff, and so.
Right.
And then the other thing is, like, when you consider as an exchange owner, every day we get someone telling us about how their coin's going to cure cancer, basically
Sure.
it's going to grow back, hair for bald people, all the greatest things in the world. Like, and it's like, sure, we've heard that story. And so we sort of were like, we don't like ICOs. We're not really particularly interested in it, until eventually people are like, how can you ignore this volume? How can you ignore this volume? It's like, well, we're not really interested in the volume. Like we don't delist coins based on volume in the first place, so why would we list coins based on volume? But once enough people sort of started asking for it, it was like, well, all right, I guess we've got to add it. But we wanted to sort of stick our own mark on it in some way. It's like, well, we could just add it, but then we just have an ETH pair like everyone else. It's like, well, if everyone wants to trade it so bad, they probably really appreciate a base pair, so let's just do that and see what happens.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think it's good thinking. I mean, because Brandon and my thoughts at one point were kind of people are more interested in collecting ETH than Litecoin in some respects right now, and Litecoin base pairs were kind of a standard for a while, and it's kind of sort of a natural progression. I mean, ETH is really new still, but
Yeah, and there hasn't been too much volume on the ETH markets yet. I've been watching them, but hopefully people will drift over. I mean, it could be a fun way to trade, I think. So let's see. There's Hex. That's kind of the summary of Cryptopia. Up next, we're going to move on and do the new posts from this week.
yeah. And the first one we saw on there was an IPO called Ophion, and this is for just like a market.
Yeah, this is it's a huge IPO. They're trying to collect 2,800 Bitcoins.
That's huge.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
it's just like everyone's. They're getting greedy. People are getting greedy. But the idea is that they're going to build a decentralized market, which, I mean, they're not this is far from the first person to be trying this concept. And it's such a huge IPO, so I just have to be pretty cynical of this, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to be cynical for me as well, especially since so many marketplaces are like coming to fruition right now. I don't see necessarily what this one has to offer. And as we've sometimes pointed out, in certain IPOs, like 70% of the ICO goes to hiring the people that are going to create the coin, which basically means that the people that know how to do this aren't even part of the team yet, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. It's just I'm just like, give me some money and maybe I can make this work. But it doesn't seem like a good bet to me.
Hex, any insight in something like this? You don't like ICOs.
No, I'm not a fan of ICOs. I don't get the whole we want to make something, so give us money. Like it's so bizarre just seeing what people will throw money at. Like especially from our standpoint, it's like, well, if we could just have a little bit of that, like we could do so much. It's like you look at what they're doing and what we're doing. We're sort of not really just talking about ourselves. We're sort of just sitting there doing what we need to do and doing it at the pace that we can.
Right.
Whereas they're, they've got people making fancy graphics and they're, making all these promises. It's like, is that what people want us to do? Like we've got a proven platform. We've got a site sitting here that we've built from scratch. Like you can see it, it's tangible, it's there. But these people are like, oh, this coin's great. Like we've got fancy graphics, so give us money, and people do it. And it's just
Right.
it's bizarre to me.
And your guys' website actually has a market on it as well that people could use.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. Do you coming from your background of sort of decentralized computing, do you find interest in decentralized markets, or do you see any ones coming up that spark your interest?
I I don't really see how the idea can work all that well. Like, if you make a decentralized market, like it's not ever going to be finished, right? It's never going to be bug free. It's like it needs someone in charge who knows how it works and has a vision for it, right? I don't get how you can just make this self-sustaining decentralized market that just does its thing on its own. Like, maybe my understanding isn't quite there, but I don't get it. Like, it's a cool idea and people need to try that shit. That's why I don't ever like shit completely on certain coins. Like, I'll say, in my opinion, it's a shit coin, but I still respect their attempt to try it out and give it a go. Like, because there are coins around now today that are doing quite well that you never would have, like, the day they came out, you would have, this is fucking stupid. Like, this isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
totally. I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, and I don't know a lot about like how a decentralized exchange would work either, so I've just always liked to ask. It's kind of interesting concept for sure, but I kind of agree with you. Until I see it, it's hard to quite imagine how it could sustain itself, I suppose.
You know, we hear about it. We just hear about it over and over again. So it's like, it's hard. It's really just hard for me to believe that some random person on Bitcoin Talk has got the key, essentially.
And so up next in the announcements is another coin that is releasing a decentralized market, Syscoin, right now.
So yeah, so on that note, Syscoin, they're releasing a decentralized market. Did you see, is this released?
It looks like it is, yeah, just at the beginning of the month. And I didn't have a chance to download the wallet and try it, but from the shot here, it just looks like it's, built directly into the wallet, a marketplace there.
Nice. So yeah, we haven't actually looked too deeply into the functionality of this yet, but that's definitely something I'm gonna want to check out for next week.
They had a big graphic comparing themselves to the Open Bazaar, which we talked about a little bit and just launched. And they think they're better than that one. So at least there's some competition going on there. I don't really know. It seems like it becomes a difficult thing to attract vendors to your platform at some point. It just has to do with maybe the gravity of the situation. If a decentralized market does catch on, then people will rush there to sell whatever they're selling.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, otherwise it's probably the same few people that are willing to go through the motions to sell their stuff on all of these markets.
Yeah, and well, part of the problem that decentralized markets have, I think, is that they have to compete with Craigslist, and I don't know if Craigslist is an international thing, but like, whatever, it's just like a free classified that works really well. So you can do it on a blockchain, but it's pretty hard to really add value to a service that's free and works really well for most people already.
Yeah.
And, the idea of having it be decentralized is cool. And I definitely want to check out the Syscoin thing, because we were just trashing that last coin for saying they were going to make a decentralized market. Syscoin says they've released it, so I guess we should check it out.
Yeah, and it took them a while to get there, too.
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
kind of
They've been working on it for a long time.
Yeah,
So.
and it went through one of those kind of inflation periods, and I think quite an extended low period as well, and maybe a rise prior to the news, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
That type of stuff. So the next announcement that we saw is Capstone.
This coin just looks really generic. It's just like a all-text post. It looks like a really long POW. The reward halving is every 3 million blocks. And, there's really not much else to say about it. It looks like he's got a website. Let's check out his
Yeah,
website.
I was trying to see what the digital mining service or series, like what it meant, but I think it is just a coin, and it's kind of just...
Well, I give him credit for registering a .com website, at least for it.
Right.
But, he's got a Twitter, too. Has he tweeted? It doesn't look like it. So anyway, yeah, there's Capstone. There's really not much else to say about that one.
No, but it is...
It's one of those ones where it's like, this is a coin, here are the specs, the end. Like, there's not even any graphics, any like, it's just here's the details.
Yeah.
Done.
Yep.
Yeah, and sometimes those can actually be really good to keep an eye on, but this one, just straight up long POW is a tough play these days.
Yeah, definitely.
But we'll see. Some of the best coins usually are long POW, but they don't come out just like it's just another blockchain. They come out like something more like Steam, where it's or Decred or
This
something.
one's a hybrid, isn't it? Does it say it has 33% yearly interest?
Yeah, it has.
Oh,
it
does
has
that
POS
proof of
as
stake?
well.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't see that.
Yep.
My bad.
Yep.
So there it is. I guess then it's truly just another coin going on its merry way.
Yeah, but sometimes different statistics appeal to certain people. Like, there's certain statistics that still appeal to me for no reason, and I'll mine certain coins just because I like how it looks.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of the trap I fell into with that platinum bar recently.
Yeah.
But so there's Capstone. Next up is an Aurora Coin. They announced a hard fork. It's funny they announced this hard fork this week, but I actually checked the Block Explorer,
Yeah.
and the date the fork was 2 weeks ago.
Huh.
So maybe they announced it back then too. But
Yeah, I guess maybe that graphic is just.
I also
little bit
couldn't
out of
find out
date.
any information on what the fork was about or why they forked it. So who knows?
Yeah, the only part that I could really find is that they're really excited about the advertising they're doing, and how in crypto everything's under scrutiny. So they they took a video of themselves driving through the city and highlighted a bunch of advertisements on the sides of bus stops for Aurora Coin.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's cool. Good for them. It's hard to say how effective advertising crypto to the masses really is, but I kind of applaud people for trying it, I guess.
Do you remember a coin like Aurora Coin coming out, Hex? Where were you around those days?
I'm just checking that I don't need to put Aurora Coin into maintenance because this is the first time I've heard about that fork, and we have it listed.
Oh, interesting.
Which is always
nice.
fun.
Well,
I don't think we're on the right version, so I'm just going to quietly put that into maintenance.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't be the first exchange to have an old wallet running, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You would think that as a coin operator that notifying exchanges and stuff of this kind of stuff would be like
A priority.
a pretty high priority for you. But
You'd think a lot of things as a coin exchange operator.
yeah,
You'd be surprised at
I'm
some of the
sure.
things we have to deal with just
I
across
bet.
the board.
I believe that.
But so it's kind of been an interesting coin because, older coin had that huge inflation period once again. It's interesting to see these ones that make it through, but what I never know, it seems like you always hear about it after that second price increase if, like, they're going to do an advertising campaign, so it's hard to ever find a spot to really get into a coin like this for me.
Yeah, right. And Aurora Coin is already back up quite a bit recently, so it's hard to want to buy it at this point. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But it's amazing that they did the airdrops and stuff to actual citizens, or they still say they did.
Yeah,
I
they're
believe. That's
they're
amazing to
they're
me,
walking
man.
the walk, man. They're walking the walk,
Yeah.
and they've really held the test of time. So it's a coin that I could see doing well in the long run. But like you said, it's hard to want to buy in.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a coin for people from Iceland. Like I really don't feel like I need to have a huge. Like I'm happy to let them, run with it.
Yeah, but like if buy coin is the same thing, then there's one that's just getting started, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. But I also,
Catch it on,
I mean, I sold my Dubai coin
But
too.
then that could go down sometime too. So there's no promises, right?
Yeah, of course. Yep.
How does the airdrop to citizens part work? Like, I'm not a citizen of Iceland. I wouldn't be able to verify an Icelandic passport. Nor would I have any business doing so. Like, as a New Zealander or as someone from not the country that the airdrop's happening, how do you have any idea that it's just not a bunch of bought and paid for accounts on Bitcoin Talk? I got my airdrop.
Yeah.
I'm an Iceland citizen. Yay.
Yeah, I know. I don't. I certainly don't trust that 100%.
Yeah, I definitely would say that I have no way of verifying that, which is one of the classic stories of altcoins. People are always
It's so
there's
easy
a lot
to
of
be
stuff
skeptical.
that can't
Even
be
when I was
verified.
watching the video of them driving around showing the pictures of their advertisement on there, I was like, man, it'd be so easy for them to just Photoshop in those advertisements. Like,
Yeah, and
it
would
could all be
anyone in
fake.
Iceland even be there to call them out on it? I like to think so.
Yeah.
There's probably a few, enough Icelanders on Bitcoin Talk to call that out, but I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
one
not.
of the thing that I know wouldn't happen in America and probably a lot of other places is that if somebody asked for our social security numbers in order to verify something so that we could get
You guys
coins.
would lose your shit, right?
Well, we definitely wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Not for a small amount of money, a small amount of coins, or especially to just some kind of shady crypto company. Yeah. So I don't know if things are different in Iceland in that regard, but it does ring a few bells like that.
The way the airdrop worked is that they had to enter their resident ID on Aurora Coin's official website to receive 31.8 Aurora Coin. Which, so, I mean, in theory that seems like it would be secure, but we don't know if the people running the website could just give themselves, an arbitrarily high amount.
It would be really cool to hear from a impartial Icelander somehow.
Yeah, that would be interesting. If anybody actually participated in the Aurora Coin airdrop, we would like to hear from you.
Especially if that's how they learned about crypto or Bitcoin in general. That'd be amazing. The next one that we saw was BitBoss. And this is another pretty just generic coin, but they actually at least went through the trouble of having some graphics and whatnot. So that's nice.
Is it launched? I didn't see this one.
It is, yeah. It is launched. It's mining.
Oh, it's on Supernova, it looks like.
Yep.
They put everything on graphics. I don't know what else you can say about a coin like this, but
I know, Brando, you're a big fan of having the technological device with the fake screenshot of the wallet.
Yeah, I love it when people screenshot a laptop with just like a client on it. Like, whoa. Oh, my God. I'm amazed. No, this looks good. 125,000 block POW.
Yeah, I saw Not So Fast was mining it a little bit, I think.
So, yeah, I'll keep my eye on this one. SHA-256. I should be mining it right now, honestly. Maybe I'll come back on this after the show. And that's it. There wasn't really too many new coins this week. Seems like I feel like the people are really waiting to see what happens with Bitcoin right now for sure. The markets have really been just like almost in pause. There have been, a few standout events, but for the most part, it seems like everything's mostly really flat.
Yeah, even Bitcoin, relatively.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's just waiting for the next breakout, of course, the next huge dump, whichever way it's going to go. But
yeah.
This just seems like there's a lot of tension built up in the markets.
It's interesting listening to people talk about stuff like that because I don't follow any of that stuff. Like the price of Bitcoin, I couldn't tell you what it is right now, but I use Bitcoin because I can spend Bitcoin. Like, it's weird, all these people like looking at Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as almost kind of like stocks. It's like, it's supposed to be money, right? Like, what makes a cryptocurrency good is what it can be spent on. Like, if you can spend something on goods and services, like, that's way more value for your coin than a pump on some exchange is ever going to be. Like, a pump lasts as long as the pump lasts, but if someone's like, I can take these coins that I've mined and I can go buy a couch or whatever it is, right? Like, surely that's more valuable. Like, the only time I'm interested in the price of Bitcoin is if I need New Zealand dollars, but I don't need New Zealand dollars. So I have Bitcoin and I spend Bitcoin and I save Bitcoin and I treat Bitcoin exactly like money. There's this weird thing going on where people don't seem to just treat it like money, which it is. Right. It's just money. It is money. You spend it.
Well, it does get treated like stocks, and I guess the reason for that is because if you get lucky or have a strategy or eat one or the other, then you might end up with more Bitcoin. And most of these coins, the objective is in the end to get more Bitcoin, which is able to be used more and more in the world, like you mentioned. So I do think that people are after that Bitcoin, and mostly that is because it's worth having.
That's entirely a possible thing that can happen. I'm not saying it can't, but it's just weird how many people come into crypto and it's like, I'm a trader now. And it's like, but you weren't a trader on Wall Street. That shit's hard. Like, why do you think you're not going and buying stocks in whatever company and making heaps on Wall Street? It's like, you can be a trader, but it's not easy. I don't get why people are just like, well, I'm a trader now. It's like, I lost coins today. It's like, well, what did you expect to happen? You're not a professional trader. Like,
right.
I'm not saying don't try and be a trader, but understand what you're getting into, what it is you're actually trying to do. Like, you're not just going to magically make money because you were trading. Like, there's work involved. It's largely speculation. It's mostly speculation.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think a big part of why people kind of get into that mindset is people buy Bitcoins for speculation. They're like, oh, I saw this on the news or whatever. I think it's going to go up, so I bought a couple Bitcoins. And then they're like, okay, well, now I have a couple of fucking Bitcoins. What can I do with these? They don't want to spend it because they don't want to convert it, back into stuff because they bought the Bitcoins for speculation. So they just end up like, oh, I can look at altcoins and maybe I'll put them into these
Unless
altcoins.
they trade them directly to Bitcoin and then for something they needed immediately, which sometimes people do.
Yeah, but then that's like you're paying an exchange to buy Bitcoin with fiat currency, and then just what's the vendors all cash out usually back into fiat, or they go through BitPay.
Right.
You know, which nobody really knows what happens to BitPay finances behind the scene. You know, but so it's hard to say. I guess what's best for people.
Yeah, and we don't meet a lot of people, I guess, that like have lost their asses. But I've heard stories like that.
Yeah,
that
but
would suck.
And
really
yeah,
bad.
but that's again, you know, people they get too excited. Or
They
whatever.
must, yeah.
And people, the classic rule of like don't risk more than you can afford to lose or whatever is always in effect there.
Mhm.
I feel like, and usually when you see people who get really upset, it's because they, you know, they took it too far or whatever. Like I've had losses certainly in trading, but I've never like you know, it's never made me really upset or angry or anything. It's just part of. It's just like if you go into it expecting that, you have to, because that's all part of the deal. But I do like your perspective about how people could be treating it more like money. I was able to buy a game on Steam with Bitcoin recently, so that was awesome. I was really happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, I have no idea what Valve does with the Bitcoin, right? If they're keeping the Bitcoin, then
But
No.
does it matter what Valve does with the Bitcoin? Like, you've got what you wanted. You bought the game. You had Bitcoin. They wanted Bitcoin. They had the game. You wanted the game. Like, that's what.
Right,
who
that's
cares what Valve does with it afterwards?
I'm just curious, honestly.
Well, they
I don't really
they
care.
convert it to money.
I
or
mean,
to fiat currency.
I definitely spent the Bitcoin without caring what Valve did.
Yeah,
I
of
just,
course, it doesn't matter.
in hindsight, I was like, I wonder if they keep them or not, because I'm curious. Because I've heard that some companies keep a percentage.
They
or
said
whatever.
that part of why they were willing to do it was because they were never going to have to actually deal with any bitcoins. Because for them, I guess.
Oh, so they're probably
be
doing it through
different.
BitPay then.
Yeah, but
Which is cool. I mean,
yeah, I hope people use Bitcoin more and more as money too.
Yep.
But that's might be a nice thing if the price does stay more stable. Then people are able to do that easier and do speculate less. But you know.
But does the price need to be stable? Like, there's such a fixation on the price of Bitcoin and where the price was a week ago, or where the price will be in a week from now. But you don't worry about, like, when you order stuff online as a Kiwi, you don't wait for the price of New Zealand dollars to rise against US dollars. It's just that's what the price is. It's like, I've got this much New
Right.
Zealand dollars and I want to buy that, and it costs that much US dollars. This is the exchange rate. Like, I buy it. I don't go, oh, I'll wait for the exchange price of the US dollar to go up 2 cents. It's just the price.
But if
It's money, and you spend money.
If your money fluctuated by that much as Bitcoin has in the past, and it's just beginning of its life, then you could have, if you converted all your money to Bitcoin, you could have lost a lot of value of your money and your ability to get real things.
Yeah, but it's still part of that whole treating it like it's money. Like, if I buy Bitcoin, it's because I want to spend Bitcoin. Like, I don't have any
immediately.
savings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, I don't
Yeah.
I don't have any Bitcoin savings. I don't have any New Zealand dollar savings. If I did, I might have a bit in both. But if I want to spend something, then, if I need New Zealand dollars, I'll sell some Bitcoin and I'll spend the money. If I want to buy something in Bitcoin, I'll spend the New Zealand dollars. And it's just, the price is the price. Like,
That does make sense. I mean, because then you're just converting it straight across and getting the things you want for it. But if
yeah, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
if Bitcoin's like $300 more next week if I wanted a lawnmower right now. Like,
yeah, for
or
sure.
whatever it is I'm buying. Like,
But people do end up holding Bitcoins for various reasons, and if they watch the price fluctuate, that they do have a reaction to it, I guess.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I like the idea of just buying and converting it quickly, and I feel like, especially when in the dark market areas that were really popular, I think
That is definitely
that's kind of what
the
people
primary
realized in a
was.
big way, is that like, oh well, it doesn't really matter what the price of Bitcoin is if we're just using it to make a transaction immediately, essentially. So yeah, that's definitely. I mean, that's a good point. People do obsess about the price.
Oh, and they're used even more than like stocks. It's actually just like gambling on some of the exchanges out there, straight up. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
In some exchange news, so C-Cex also added the ETH-based pair, like
Yep.
we mentioned.
We mentioned this a little bit earlier, but it was cool to see another exchange go for this route, and I'm curious to see if we start seeing some traffic on these. I think an Esper's listing would definitely drive that potentially, but we'll see. I guess what happens.
And that DAO has now raised over $100 million.
Yeah, so I do not know.
like actual dollars?
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
US dollars.
Dollars in the bank?
U.S. dollars worth of
Well,
Ethereum.
3% of the Ethereum blockchain got sent to it,
Yep.
Right.
Which is just
equivalent of $100 million, I guess. Is
Yeah,
how they're
people are
measuring it.
saying like,
Yeah, but would it be $100 million if you just straight dumped that? Like, that would have an
No.
effect on the price, right? Like,
you're right,
there's no way you're
absolutely.
converting that directly into $100 million without trickle feeding it over a few months or whatever, being very careful.
No, you make a
Yeah.
good point. We usually refer to, like, we talk about market caps a lot on the show, but it shouldn't be. It's really, the markets often have incredibly low liquidity. So
Yeah.
when you say that, oh, I have $100 million worth of Ethereum at the current price, it's definitely true that if you tried to cash that out, you would end up having a huge impact on the market, and so
Yeah.
you wouldn't get that price back, obviously.
Well, that's been kind of the question the whole time about how is this going to work. So,
But that's
I
just
really
part
don't
of,
know.
for me, that's just part of understanding the value of crypto. It's, there's the current market price and there's the liquidity, and then you just have to know, essentially based on the quantity, if you really are going to get close to that out of it.
Yeah.
And that is really true of markets big and small. One of the fun things about YobiYobit and these really small coins is that you can see the effect of essentially, the limited liquidity on a coin that has, a 5 Bitcoin market cap. If you want to sell half a Bitcoin of it, you're going to have a huge impact on that market.
For sure. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the DAO. It's just too big for me, honestly. I can't really wrap my brain around investing in it at this point, especially because
No, it seems just like a kind of a fun thing to watch as entertainment at this point.
yeah, and it's hard to say if it's bandwagon effect. There's always the question with crypto IPOs of, I mean, these guys, it's probably safe to say there's not sending. It's not like the old IPO scam where you just send your own money into the exchange, because it's
I
hard to
don't think
imagine
that's
anyone.
possible in this scenario because of it being
'Cause it's so much.
like Ethereum contract.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's actually
Oh, right.
individual Ethereum tokens getting sent there, so it can't be that actual scam.
Right. So yeah, it's interesting to see something this big going on right now.
Crazy.
Next up, some sad news from Gatecoin.
Small exchange.
New exchange. They were famous for having this rep token
Yeah.
equivalent thing. And they had a hot wallet breach, apparently, and they say they lost 15% of their crypto asset deposits.
That's sad.
So just, I think they said the value was $2 million on this,
Mm-hmm.
which 185,000 ETH and 250 Bitcoins. It's just getting to be a pretty old story, and I really have to wonder about this one, honestly. I don't know if you are too familiar with this one.
I did never trade on that exchange. Kind of the only thing I heard about it was that token, the rep token.
What do you think about this, Hex? Did you hear about this story?
Never heard of them, but I mean, I'm torn. I feel bad for them on the one hand, but I also, the cynic in me is always like, oh, whatever. Like, it was someone just taking the bitcoins, right? You just took the hot wallet. That's what happened, right? But
Yeah.
part of me dreads it because, like, it could happen to us. Like, I would never be as foolish as to say we're never going to get hacked. No one's ever going to break into our exchange. Like, that's never a promise any sane person is ever going to make. We do our absolute best, and we secure it to the best of our abilities, and we're confident in our security. But if this ever happens to us, I just can't see anyone ever believing us, no matter how genuine and true the story is. Like, oh, we lost the hot wallets or whatever. People are going to be like, fuck off, you did. You just fucking taken them, right? You've taken them. Give us our coins back. It's like, just makes me nervous seeing stories like this.
So I
Yeah.
guess maybe, maybe it is best to give them the benefit of the doubt in a lot of situations.
Yeah. Or, it is what it is, and it's too bad for people, because that was customers' money, too,
Yeah, and the reality is, but you really can't, you'll never know for certain one way or the other in a lot of these situations, so to make a specific accusation is usually just really hard. You can say, like, oh, maybe they did this, but you're never going to know, you're never going to know what actually happened, so it's best to just kind of be like, okay, I definitely feel bad for people who are affected by this, but it's just it's
You
an
could
old
argue
story.
this would be a strength of a decentralized cryptocurrency exchange, but then
Yeah.
it could also just as equally be a weakness, right? Because it's decentralized. Someone finds that bug, and it's like, oh well, they've just robbed the decentralized exchange. Who's responsible?
Right.
No one. It's decentralized. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody, it's going to be a huge issue for decentralized exchanges, I think, because by their nature, they couldn't, like you said earlier, somebody has to either be actively developing it and in control of the development cycle, or every time there's an exploit, everyone's going to have to agree, like, oh, we better fix the decentralized exchange. But by the time that happens, it might already be way too late.
Yeah.
So that'll be, as these decentralized exchanges supposedly actually start to be released, I guess we'll kind of see what happens.
One with like a crypto coin backing seems to have a fairly set leadership.
Yeah, definitely.
development-wise
Like an
usually.
altcoin
Yeah.
specifically,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's most of the big news for the week. Not too much interesting market news. Like I said, most of the stuff I've been watching is flat.
Yeah,
Obviously,
nothing big for me right now.
there was that Vox listing on Poloniex that was huge.
Yep.
But on YobiYobit, Dubai coin doubled up again. So that's probably the most interesting thing for me right now. Still
It's just
haven't
going strong.
Yeah, still haven't found, I've been waiting for it to fall to buy back in, and that's never happened. So
Yeah.
now I'm just kind of watching it go up, but it's definitely still looks like, in my opinion, the strongest Bitcoin at least.
Yep. And so with listings this week, like Brandon mentioned, Poloniex listed Vox, which was a virtual reality coin, and this is one of those ones that just did not look legit to me at all. I remember the announcement at first, so to see it now listed on Poloniex is pretty amazing to me.
Yeah, launched November 2015. I wasn't paying too much attention at the time. I don't really remember it launching, but it currently has 7.3 million market cap, 16,000 Bitcoin value, essentially.
It's pretty amazing.
At the current bid prices, of course.
Right. And low, of course, like Hex mentioned, with a different coin, or the DAO market cap. Same thing always goes with these altcoins. Market cap's kind of a tricky measurement.
And part of the fun of a pump is that it's like they generate all this volume, and part of it is creating an illusion for people that they can buy a large amount and then sell it quickly,
Right.
without denting the market. And so a huge part of the surprise for people when a pump is over is when they withdraw that support, and all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, I can't sell my coins without collapsing the market. But, that's all part of the fun. And, good for Vox right now. They're just huge price. Anybody that got into it before is obviously going to be feeling really good right now.
Yeah, it must be cool to have a coin that gets listed on Poloniex these days.
Yeah, Poloniex listings are obviously really rare. It's impossible to say why they list anything. Nobody knows what goes on, but behind the Poloniex, decision room or whatever. But
They also
Vox is
decided
one.
to list the ability to convert ETH to that DAO token
That
on their site, just like Bittrex had.
that
last
doesn't
week.
surprise me at all. Obviously, the DAOs. It's probably a big part of why the markets have been so kind of stagnant this week, and potentially the announcements have been so stagnant, is that DAO might be kind of
Just dominating it.
sucking all the wind out of the room. Like if you're somebody who has a serious project in the works, you might want to wait until some of the DAO hype dies down before you launch your
I think
project.
it's going to be really fun to see what happens, honestly.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's
So
just
much-
it's the next big
So much silliness.
it's the next big high profile, like, oh, everyone's got to see what happens, and there's no way to know right now. Like I've said before, I think it feels like it's too hyped up for me right now. But
Yeah, one thing you and I, Brandon, talked about maybe the other day was how with that much investment, it's hard to imagine that even without recycling coins, that somebody doesn't own at least 50% of this company. Because we were thinking, if you're going to invest this much Ethereum into something, it'd be kind of crazy to buy like 33% of that much and then leave the rest up to a bunch of people you'd have no idea who they are, what their intentions are. You've never met them. Most of them are just trying to speculate on the value of this token for the company.
yeah, and allegedly having these tokens gives you some control over what's going on in this thing. So
Correct.
it's really hard, kind of for us to imagine somebody being like, okay, I'm gonna let some random strangers on the internet take control of this asset or whatever. But at the same time,
I guess they'll have their proportional say, but I'm just saying
People
don't
are
find
really
it
interested in
likely
it.
that
and I guess it's gonna be big either way. It could be a huge disaster, but it's gonna we'll learn something about the future of crypto one way or the other, I guess.
yeah.
So that's it for Poloniex. Up next is C-Cex. We mentioned earlier they listed the ETH base pairs, so we're excited to see what goes on with there. They also listed a coin called Virta coin. This one was launched in May of 2014, and it's just it feels weird. It's got a huge block reward, and it has an 8.4 billion coin pre-mine.
Wow.
And so the price is really low, but because the number of coins is so high, it has a really high market value. But
Oh, that's funny. Once
It's-
again, an example.
yeah, but it's obviously it's a situation where they control the whole market, so they can set the price. So it's not real. I don't think.
Yep,
I mean, I've definitely never heard of anyone being like, "Oh, I'm really into using Virtacoin." Yeah.
Nope. And next up is Cryptopia.
Crypto.
Yay.
Yay! They
Not
listed.
biased at all.
Yeah, fantastic exchange. They listed Argentum, which is doing like a revival. That's another old coin that has done a revival, and they're doing fine. They were traded. I don't remember what exchange they were traded on before, but I think it was really like super unknown. And so they're kind of getting a more realistic price established on Cryptopia at like 300 sat.
Nice.
So we'll see what happens with Argentum, but they're holding strong for an old coin that's just kind of another clone.
Yep, and then the other one was XD2, Golden Eagle.
Yeah, this is Double Eagle.
Oh, Double Eagle.
Double
sorry.
Eagle. This is like, it's hard for me to even keep track of XD at this point because it was like a takeover.
I remember
a takeover.
mining it with my GPU back when it was launched.
Yeah, it's an ultra low. It's like a low market cap gimmick coin, which can be fun.
Originally, there was only 100 of them, I think.
Yeah, and I have no idea what the case is with.
And
the
it was one
newest
of those
version.
ones where the developer didn't compensate for there only being 100 coins.
Yeah, and it just didn't work.
It ground to a halt eventually after the proof of work was done or whatever.
That does not surprise me.
And then there
especially.
was maybe a couple takeovers, like you said, and it looks like now it's still alive. So that's cool.
So yep, they're back on Cryptopia. So there they are. Those are the two listings this week. A little bit slower for Cryptopia this week. There was like a big rush of listings.
Yeah, when you guys had that
promotion.
sale.
So that was
Our
fun.
listings vary hugely. It depends nearly entirely on what people want to list because we don't really pick any of the coins that we list. Like it has to be something about the coin that grabs our attention for us to just list it. Like we have to see a coin and think, oh, that's cool, or that idea is interesting before we list it. Otherwise, it's basically entirely user driven. Like people are like, oh, why'd you list such and such coins? Like because people voted for it. Like we don't don't have the vote list just to ignore it like other exchanges might have done in the past, but like if it gets voted on to the top, it's getting listed. That's all there is to it.
Nice. Well, that's a cool way for.
Yeah.
I mean, voting. It's good for some exchanges to be out there with voting because almost nobody has it still. So, for a lot of coins, that's like the only way for them to get on exchange. So that's it's a good avenue, I think, to have available.
Yeah.
YobiYobit listed a ton of coins this week.
Louise,
Blacksmith got
nuts.
back apparently and just went insane on listings. So we'll just fire through them here. Takcoin. This is a rebrand of Takcoin, the George Takei tribute coin. It was on Cryptsy, and the community kind of got together and got it back on YobiYobit.
Okay.
Numberscoin, surprising listing here. The thread got deleted. OC Miner said it was a Trojan, but for some reason it has bids at 1 Satoshi.
Weird.
7 billion supply. I'm sure all of it's pre-mined or whatever, but so Numberscoin, I wouldn't trade it. They listed GothiccoinX. We trash talked this one last week. It's one of those just
had some cheesy art and stuff.
Yeah, and just a huge pre-mine, and it's at 0 sat, so nobody wants to buy it apparently. Next up is Educoin. This was that one that came out a couple weeks ago, alleging to be a coin for Vietnamese students, like elementary school students or something. I don't know, but it's another huge pre-mine, kind of an old trend. It feels like it's probably the same person doing all these. Hard to say.
Right.
But for instance, on this one, 1 million of the coins have been mined, and the pre-mine was 20 million. So,
wow.
Even then, it's only has 6.5 Bitcoin market cap. So there's just there's nobody buying this stuff.
Yeah, that's insane.
Another low market cap news. Charged Coin came out. And this one was funny. This one actually came out with a really small pre-mine.
That one looked a little better for mining, I remember.
Yeah, and just basically nothing else interesting. But I checked the market cap, and it's only at 0.16 Bitcoins.
Wow.
So I'm actually kind of happy to see stuff this low because, you have that, after there's a bunch of big pumps, you have that rush of coins of everybody trying to capitalize on the interest.
Yeah, like no matter what it was, they would just buy some when it became listed almost.
And now we're seeing, everybody knows that most of these coins that come out are just clones or worthless, right?
Right.
So when the market starts valuing the truly worthless coins as being worthless, you can actually start to watch the markets better and be like, it's a good time to actually watch for people to release solid projects that you'll actually be able to profit on. So it's just kind of a sign that the altcoin world is hitting a bottom in terms of the junk.
Yeah.
This like the ebb and flow of junk and cool coins.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, this week didn't have money announcements even. So.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of another sign that hopefully there's more interesting new stuff on the horizon. And if you're somebody who likes to monopolize really small blockchains, just like with
Is
tiny
there much
bits,
for sale there? Did you check on that when you were looking at the?
I didn't see what the sales look like,
Yeah.
but
They also listed Aptcoin.
yeah, I think this is Aptcoin. This is another old coin. I don't know how all these old coins are getting listed. This came out August of 2014. The gimmick here is that it had a variable n factor. So I don't. Script n was like this old algorithm that came out a couple years ago, and the idea was to be even more ASIC resistant than script.
Right.
And so it had a couple of popular coins on it for a while. I think Virtcoin was originally script n before they switched to Lyra or whatever, but there were some rumors that it was bad for graphics cards. I'm not sure if that was actually true, but
Made them.
Where do you guys stand on this whole ASIC resistant ideology? Because I think it's actually kind of just ridiculous and stupid.
I don't
personally.
really understand it. I mean, the ASICs seem to do a fine job of securing blockchain, so I don't really get the hostility, honestly.
I don't get it. It'd be kind of like if everyone was like, we need to stop mining gold because those bastards have all the diggers and the drills and the sluices and stuff, and we've just got our gold pans here, and it's not fair. It's not fair. It's like, buy a fucking digger. Like,
They've got electric shovels.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I totally agree. And
Yeah, me too.
personally, my experience with mining is that using my ASICs has been a lot more pleasurable than fucking with my GPU miner, which is really annoying. So
I mean, you're going to kind of hear the moans from people that aren't able to mine profitably with whatever they were mining with prior to an ASIC coming out for a certain algorithm. But I also think that people kind of can recognize once there's ASICs being developed for an algorithm that might be only available.
that legitimizes it, surely.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that means that it's valuable now.
And it's not like there's no GPU market. There's like no time in the past 2 years that you couldn't have bought a GPU and paid the thing off if you were just
True.
You have to
really could've.
you have to babysit it. You have to be on the frontier. But go ahead.
it's the same kind of thing with the CPU mining coins. It's like, well, I mean, you could go out and dig all the sand you want, but it's still worth shit all. Like, the difficulty in obtaining it is part of what gives it the value. Like, it's hard to find gold in the ground.
Right.
That's why gold's worth a lot. You can go down to the beach and dig up a pile of sand. Like, it's the same thing with CPU mining coins. It's like, yeah, you can mine with your CPU, but you're digging up trash.
Anyone can mine with their CPU, so big deal, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have no problem with the specialization of mining equipment at all, and I think it's honestly really cool that this technology is being developed just for this. And I hope that kind of the techniques that are developed in Bitcoin miners could potentially be applied elsewhere, but we'll see if that actually.
What do you think
happens.
the next algorithm to be made into ASICs might be? Would it be one for?
But I don't think it's necessarily going to be an algorithm. I think NVIDIA and AMD aren't just going to ignore this demand, right? Like you see the improvements they're making to their graphics cards, the advent of 3D memory for like coins like Script and shit. They're not going to be like, oh, people are buying ASICs now. We guess we missed out on that money. Like they're gonna want to get that back. Like they saw a huge influx in a lot of their cards being sold out when Bitcoin was just becoming popular and people were starting to buy 280Xs, and then before that 5850s. Like they were being bought out of stock like all over the world.
Yeah, it was
I
crazy.
remember that.
They're not just going to give up on that revenue. They're going to be like, well, these people want to be able to do this specific thing, and you can tell that they're taking it into account in the newer models of graphics cards that are coming out. They're not just going to let the ASICs have it. They're not going to they've got all the infrastructure. They've got all of the know-how. They know that they're perfectly set to start bringing out like proper mining GPUs, and I don't think that's a far-fetched idea.
No, that's an interesting thought. Honestly, I remember, especially back when graphics cards were like super expensive. That's when we kind of first got into mining. The prices of cards was way inflated. I think I paid like $270 for a 270X at one point or something. But like, so I was kind of expecting them to come out with like, this is the best, script mining card of all time or whatever, and you didn't really see it, but maybe they just feel like the markets are too unstable or something.
Well, I mean, we saw the NVIDIA make the change in behavior. They started bringing out the Titans and adding more APUs to the dies of their GPUs and stuff. They're not. Maybe
true.
They're not coming outright and saying, "Hey, this is our mining card," but they're silently going, "Here, okay, here you go. This will do what you want." Like maybe they don't have to directly acknowledge it, but you can see just in their behavior that they're paying attention.
Yeah, they must know
that's a
who's
good
buying,
point.
what people are buying their cards for. I mean, because gamers don't need to buy 4 video cards.
Yeah,
No.
gamers don't buy 250 freaking video cards and fill a warehouse or whatever. That's for sure.
Yeah. And so the next listing on there was the Redcrowcoin, which we saw get launched not long ago.
Not much to say. That was just another high pre-mine script coin, and it's at 0 Satoshi, so
Huh.
just another one of those. PonziCoin got listed. This was launched by that Takcoin guy, and I know he launched a coin before this. He's got a negative Bitcoin doc reputation, which is funny. He's been around for a long time too, though, so it's possible that somebody just
Yeah, I've never interacted
got
with
annoyed
him
by him or
personally, so
whatever.
I don't know.
And I don't remember what happened to his last coin. So, well, when I saw this, I wish I had
His last
mined
coin was Kolschcoin. He has like a few coins now, doesn't he?
Yeah, Kolschcoin, that's what it was. That did decently on YobiYobit for a while. So
It did all right while he was sort of sticking with it, but then he sort of just started like pumping out coins left and right, and he sort of disappeared from being active. He used to hang out on Cryptopia, and then he disappeared. I haven't seen him forever.
interesting. Interesting.
And then he sort of just coins started coming out from him left and right. It's like if he just stuck with one of the good ideas, like Kolschcoin, like it wouldn't have been like a Bitcoin competitor, but it was an effective and like legitimate sidechain. He was trading coins for bear, and then the bear for coins, and it was all sort of self-sustaining. It was doing real well while he was sticking with it, but I don't know if he just didn't like the work involved or if he wanted to. I don't know. I don't know what he's up to.
It seems like he just likes making coins, and so that's
Yeah, it must be.
a lot of people. You know how hobbyists can be. They'll get into something for a couple months and then be like, I'd have more fun doing something new, so that's what I'm gonna do. And we'll see. Again, I kind of wish I was around for the early mining of this because it probably would have been worth it. But it's on YobiYobit. It's got a smallish market cap, so not too much interest. But it also has a lot of proof of work left still. So we'll see what happens there. The next listing is Platinum Bar. This is one that I mined just because I was bored, I guess. But
Yeah.
it's just yet another high pre-mined script coin. It had okay-ish parameters, like only 54,000 supply now. Which again, it doesn't matter. It's all just arbitrary numbers, right? Like small, large.
Yeah, for the most part.
It just seems like people get hyped up about different stuff for some reason. But it's got an 8 Bitcoin market cap. The guy burnt a bunch of the pre-mine because a lot of the supply got eaten up by proof of stake.
Oh, okay.
But really, I don't see a lot to like about this. It's kind of trading right around what I paid to mine it. And I probably should just sell it because it's just, I don't know. I don't really see anything exciting about it, just another coin.
Is the burning of the pre-mine just another exercise in trust? Like they can say, oh yeah, we burnt the pre-mine, we sent it to this address. You can all see it sitting there at that address, but like they could still have the private key. How do we know they don't have the private key? Those coins could move in 2 years. Like
Allegedly, there are provably unspendable addresses.
Yeah.
I can't speak to
How that works.
So, but again, people.
But if everyone is going, I can't speak to how that works, is that just another exercise in trust? Like
it seems like it definitely is a little bit.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how that would work with your expertise?
No.
Yeah.
So who knows? That'd be interesting to look into, I guess.
Yeah, I might have to.
So there's Platinum Bar. It's just nothing too exciting there. The next listing was GreenCoin. This is another old coin, and it has a 0.7 Bitcoin market cap. So just really another really tiny market that is for some reason on YobiYobit. It seems like he just listed everything this week. I don't know.
Probably just has a backlog of people that paid for it. Got to get through it at some point.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I bet that's a good call. That's probably is what it is.
At some point, you just got to do the work.
The next one is CarbonCoin, another old coin, launched February 2014. It's got a 15 billion supply. So it's at 1 Satoshi on YobiYobit, which gives it 150 Bitcoin market cap. But it's at 0 Satoshi on C-Cex, which gives it a 0 market cap.
That's
So, the granularity, again, something that people should be trading on ETH markets. They shouldn't be trading it on YobiYobit. So,
Yeah, that's weird.
whatever. There it is, CarbonCoin. And Capstone, that one that just launched
Was
this
just
week, also
announced this
got
week,
listed. Not much action there. Low supply, low price, low buy support. So, just seems like again, just more of the market's treading water, I think.
Yeah.
And that's it. That does it for the listings this week.
And there was only one birthday that I could find this week, which was 16-bit.
16 Bitcoin launched after 8 Bitcoin, like as a just like a copycat, I guess. And it caught a small pump. 8 Bitcoin launched in the shadow of Tron Coin, and got a pump kind of at the exact same time as TronCoin, and then as Positron, if everyone remembers that, and then 16-bit launched like a few days later just to kind of ride that wave, I guess. So I'm surprised to see it's still around, honestly. Is it trading still?
It's barely around. It's listed on Cryptopia. It doesn't have any volume or trade going on. It's barely got any nodes, but it's there. It's still, you can sync it. You can send your coins around. It's about all you can do with it.
Well, happy birthday to the blockchain, I guess. Seems like there's probably not anybody
Just
paying
the
any
entity
attention
itself.
to it, but
The blockchain entity.
yep, that's it. But that's it for the birthdays this week. Not too much on the old schedule.
Yeah. So it was kind of just a good little week in altcoins, and we're always looking forward to the next one.
Yep, that's going to do it for the show this week, everybody. We had a great time. We were really happy to have Hex on the show. So
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Huge thanks to you, man.
No, it was fun talking to you guys.
Yeah, it was really
Just-
fun
just
talking to you.
Shooting shit about random shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what the show's about. Just shooting shit about shitcoins. So, boom. This has been Blockchain Dynamics, show number 12. My name is Brandon Doge,
And I'm Jukely.
and this
And
is
I'm X.
and there's Hex.
Sorry, I just still gotta
Yeah, good
check
job.
myself in there.
No, please. Cryptopia.co.nz is the exchange. Check it out. This is Error by Trial Radio, and peace out.
Like a couple Bitcoins.
Money, 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 though.
Pull up on my Nakamoto.